My wife cheated and smirked when I filed for divorce, so I took everything and left her with nothing. All right, I don't usually post on Reddit, and I've debated whether I should even share this, but honestly, it's been over a year, and I still think about how all of it went down. Maybe it'll help someone else who's in a similar spot, or maybe I just need to say it out loud to close the book on it. Either way, here it goes. I, 34M, was married to my ex-wife, let's call her Hannah. 32F for 4 years, together for 6. No kids, thank God. When we met, I was in a pretty stable place in life, working a solid IT job, good salary, not flashy but comfortable. Hannah was a freelance graphic designer. She had a lot of charm, super outgoing, funny, the kind of person people gravitate toward. Total opposite of me, honestly. I'm quieter, more introverted. But I liked that about her. It made life feel fuller. Things moved kind of fast. We met through mutual friends, started dating, moved in together after maybe 8 months. Got married about a year and a half later. I was all in. I really thought she was the one. We talked about buying a house, traveling, eventually having a couple of kids, normal stuff. The first 2 years of marriage were actually pretty good. I won't pretend it was perfect. She had a short temper sometimes, and we had different views on money, but nothing I thought was a red flag. I figured all couples had stuff like that. But then things started to get weird. At first, it was little stuff. She started staying out later. Not crazy late, but definitely not girls' night dinner late. She'd say she was going out with friends or meeting clients at bars or coffee shops, which seemed weird to me, but I didn't want to be that suspicious, insecure husband. Then her phone became sacred territory. Passwords changed, always face down, always on her. If I even glanced at it when it buzzed, she'd snatch it like I was about to detonate a bomb. She also started criticizing me more, saying I was boring, that I never wanted to go out, that I didn't pay attention to her anymore. Meanwhile, I was literally paying for everything. Mortgage, groceries, utilities. She chipped in when she could, but her income was inconsistent. I never complained. I wanted her to feel supported while she chased her goals. Meanwhile, I was literally paying for everything. Mortgage, groceries, utilities. She chipped in when she could, but her income was inconsistent. I never complained. I wanted her to feel supported while she chased her goals. The intimacy dropped off too. First, it was excuses. She was tired, stressed, in a funk. Then it became routine. We were basically roommates. Still, I thought maybe we were just in a rough patch. Every marriage hits those, right? Then came the guest room. She started sleeping in there, saying my snoring kept her up. Fair enough. I actually do snore sometimes, but it quickly became permanent, like she just stopped sleeping in our bed altogether. That was the real turning point. One night around 1 a.m., I got up to use the bathroom. As I passed the guest room, I heard her talking, softly, laughing in that specific way people do when they're flirting. I paused and put my ear to the door. I wish I was there with you right now. No, he's asleep. Yeah, I miss you too. It felt like my heart dropped to my stomach, but I didn't confront her. I just walked back to bed in a haze, heart pounding. I spent a few days without bringing anything up, and I started noticing more things about her. I noticed that she rarely looked at me when we spoke. I noticed how she wouldn't really sit with me in the same room. All things I haven't particularly noticed before. And one night I knew I had to do something. The next morning I called out of work and bought a $60 keylogger, installed it on our shared laptop. I hated doing it, but I needed to know. I was tired of gaslighting myself into thinking I was paranoid. It didn't take long. Within a week I had access to everything. Her email, her DMs, even an old Facebook account she thought I didn't know about. And I found him. We'll call him Brent. Mid-40s, married, 2 kids, worked in finance. They'd been talking seemingly every night, flirting, swapping pictures, booking hotels. I found calendar invites hidden in her email titled Design Client that were actually weekend meetups with him. I remember feeling my eyes well up as I read their chats. She called me boring, emotionally distant. Just a paycheck. Said she was playing the long game and waiting for the right moment to leave. You ever feel your heart stop while sitting completely still? That's what it was like. I took screenshots, hundreds of them. I created folders, labeled every conversation, dated every receipt. I wanted to scream, cry, break something, but I didn't. I just kept documenting. 2 weeks later, I confronted her. Calmly, sat her down at the kitchen table and said, "Is there anything you need to tell me?" She instantly went into defense mode. "What are you talking about? Stop being weird," she said. I silently slid a folder across the table. She opened it. I just sat there and watched her face fall. First came the denial. "This is fake. You're stalking me. You're invading my privacy." Then the tears. "It didn't mean anything. I was confused. I was lonely." Then the rage. "You had no right to go through my stuff. That's abuse. You're sick." And finally, after the tears subsided, the smugness. "Well, if you're planning on leaving me, just remember I'll get half." She smiled when she said it. actually smiled. That's when something in me died. Whatever tiny part of me was hoping for remorse, it evaporated right then and there. But I didn't argue, I didn't yell, I just nodded and said, okay. She thought I was broken, like I was going to lay down and take it. Meanwhile, I got to work. I'd already quietly spoken to a divorce attorney before the confrontation. Gave him everything I had, timelines, bank statements, the prenup, yes, we had one signed before marriage, and the nuclear evidence folder. What Hannah didn't know was that the prenup had a clause, a very specific clause about infidelity. Spoiler, it doesn't go well for her, but I didn't stop there. I also found Brent's wife on Facebook. She looked like a regular suburban mom, 2 kids, happy family photos, no clue what her husband was doing behind her back. I didn't reach out yet, not yet, that part was to come later. I wanted everything in place. For a few weeks after the confrontation, I played it cool. She still lived in the house. We didn't talk much. I stayed in the master bedroom. She kept pretending like she was the victim, moping around, posting sad quotes on Instagram, telling mutual friends I'd changed, and shut down emotionally. I said nothing. I let her dig her own grave. Then one morning, I walked into the kitchen and said, "By the way, you'll be served sometime this week, just a heads up." She froze mid-sip of her coffee. "What are you talking about?" she said. "The divorce." I replied, "You'll be served, shouldn't take long." I walked out the door and went to work like it was any other day. I'd scheduled the server to hand-deliver the papers to her during her brunch with her 2 best friends, at her favorite cafe, public, dramatic, unavoidable. My lawyer said it was the pettiest thing he'd seen all month. But to me, it was worth it. She had spent the last year making me feel small, dismissing my suspicions, mocking me behind my back, and acting like I was just some placeholder while she played out her second life fantasy with Brent. She deserved to be knocked off her pedestal, and that's exactly what happened. She came home from that brunch furious, slammed the door, threw her purse, stormed into the kitchen. "You couldn't just talk to me like a man? You had to humiliate me like that?" she screamed. I calmly told her the lawyer's info was in the envelope, and if she had any questions, she could ask him. She ranted for an hour, accusing me of being manipulative, emotionally abusive, insecure, all that BS. I just nodded and made dinner. You know how people say staying calm pisses them off more than yelling ever would? Yeah, I weaponized that. She moved in with her sister a week later. Took her studio stuff, her clothes, and the dog. I let her take the dog, not because I'm a saint, but because I knew he hated car rides and I'd get him back soon enough. Once she was out of the house, I gave my lawyer the green light to start sending discovery materials to her legal team. Everything was organized. A timeline of the affair, hotel records, screenshots of her texts, the calendar invites, all of it. Even the clause in our prenup that basically said, if either of us cheats, they waive rights to the other person's assets, including shared property purchased during the marriage. Her lawyer didn't believe it at first, tried to argue that some of the messages were taken out of context, until we sent over the full logs, all 200-plus pages, in chronological order, labeled and highlighted. You could smell the panic in the delayed email responses after that. Meanwhile, Hannah kept pretending everything was amicable on social media, posting vague quotes about healing and new beginnings. She even hinted that she had filed for divorce because she deserved better. She was still trying to play the hero, so I sent her one last message: "Stop lying, you know what you did. Handle this like an adult or I'll make it worse." She left me on red, so I followed through. Later that day, I reached out to Brent's wife. I put together a folder. Everything she needed to see. I didn't include any of the explicit photos, obviously, but there was more than enough. I sent her everything, accompanied with a short message. "You don't know me, but I thought you should see what your husband's been doing. I know this will hurt, but you deserve the truth." About 2 weeks later, I got a response from her. A short "thank you." That was it. No drama, just 2 strangers acknowledging the wreckage someone else left behind. By the time we got to court, I was ready. Hannah showed up looking like she hadn't slept in days. Her lawyer tried to argue that the prenup was unfair, that I trapped her in a financially imbalanced marriage, that I'd sabotaged her emotionally and pushed her into the affair. The judge didn't buy a word of it. The infidelity clause was clear. I had more than enough evidence. My lawyer laid it all out piece by piece with calm precision. She tried to interrupt a few times, said I was twisting things and violating her privacy. The judge looked over his glasses and said, "You're lucky he didn't sue for emotional damages. Frankly, I've seen less organized trials." When the ruling came in, it was exactly what we wanted. She got nothing. No house, no alimony, no retirement access, no debt coverage. She left with her clothes, her car, and whatever was already in her name. The look on her face was priceless. I don't even know how to describe it. Shock, confusion, like she genuinely believed right up until that moment that she was going to win. After court, I made one post on Facebook, just one. No rants, no dragging her name through the mud. After a painful few years, my divorce is finalized. I learned that love without respect isn't love at all. To anyone going through betrayal, you are not crazy, you are not weak. Document everything, stay calm, and choose peace. That was it, but it blew up. Mutual friends connected the dots. People started unfollowing her. Clients dropped her. Her own mother called me to say she was heartbroken and didn't raise her that way. Apparently, Hannah had been telling people I was controlling and cold, that I abandoned her emotionally, that I walked away without warning. Once the truth came out, she lost her halo. One of her close friends even messaged me to apologize for not believing me sooner. I thought you were boring, but turns out you were just a stable adult. Oof, I'll take it. This part's dumb, but it meant a lot to me. About a month after the divorce, Hannah dropped the dog off at my place with no warning. She texted, "He keeps crying at the door. I think he misses you more than I do." Lol. No apology, just that. I didn't reply. But when I opened the door, I saw my goofy little mutt sitting in his carrier and wagging his tail like never before. Yeah, I cried. I'm not ashamed of it. It's been about a year since everything went down. I've moved to a new city, took a higher-paying job, started going to therapy. I'm not dating seriously yet, but I'm open to it. I actually like living alone with my dog. My space is clean, mostly quiet and mine. Sometimes I still think about her, not because I miss her, but because I wonder how I ever fell for someone like that. How I ignored so many little signs. How I let myself become so small to keep someone else comfortable. But honestly, I'm proud of how I handled it. I didn't scream. I didn't throw her stuff on the lawn. I didn't trash her online. I just stayed quiet, gathered the truth, and walked away with everything she tried to lie her way into. If you're going through something similar, here's my advice: trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Document everything. Screenshots, receipts, emails. You never know what might save you later. Stay calm. Emotions are valid, but when it comes to court, logic wins. Don't play dirty. Let them dig their own grave. You just hand the shovel. And most of all, don't let betrayal define you. Use it to refine you. Thanks for actually going through this whole thing. I never thought I'd be that guy with the cheating wife and the courtroom revenge story. But here I am, and you know what? I'm finally at peace. TLDR, my wife cheated, thought she'd walk away with half my stuff. I collected receipts, let her think she was winning, then used our prenup and a mountain of evidence to destroy her case in court. Exposed her affair partner to his wife. Walked away with everything. She walked away broke and alone. I'm doing better than ever. Thank you for watching. As always, make sure to like and subscribe for more Reddit stories. Until next time.